So I have here a Trek 500 road bike from 1984. Pretty easy to identify the year with Trek. The serial number is underneath on the bottom bracket, and it's a 21-inch frame from center to top, 21-inch top tube, so it's quite a square frame. Very nice bike, I have to say. And you think of, this time in the mid-80s when you can imagine European manufacturers looking at this bike coming from America, from this company of Trek, and realizing their dominance of North America was over, because this is a bike that was going up directly against Peugeot and Motor and Rally. Here is a 1985 Peugeot PH501 and Motor Jubilee Sport. Both were direct rivals to the Trek, and it's really good quality, and they must have known that. Nice little details like the stamp here of Trek, the model number on the chainstay, the real good quality paint. I think the paintwork is a really good feature of this bike. A nice decal, none on the down tube, I have to say. Clean lugs, nice and clean, not ornate, but good, perfect for this bike. And I think Trek obviously decided Japanese parts were the way to go for their bikes. So Suntour shifters, SR crank, Suntour ARX rear derailleur, 6-speed freewheel, fluted SR seat post, and also SR stem. So, and it has Brazon cable guides, typical of the mid-80s. I think it's a really good looking bike. It's got some scratches on it, not a lot, I'd say. There's one. I think on the other side, often on a bike, you get one side that's better than the other. This side isn't quite as good. And also the fork has some paintwork here. Deer comp brakes, which are Japanese again. The brake hoods have perished, but it's not a big deal really. You can get replacements. You see, completely perished in it really. And a really nice bike. I think it's not the 520 Trek, which was the classic of the era, but this 500 is a really good quality bike. Reynolds 501 frame, not the 531 version, but it's that classic head tube. Very cool. Sloping fork crown, not stamped, but I think looks really good. Just needs some basic restoration. Interesting that the bottom bracket spindle here is a screw-on type, which takes let's see, this type, so I can't even see that there, this type of nut, which is not rare, but it's not typical on older bikes. Anyway, the crank came off pretty easily. You can see the dirt around the cup there, but the actual spindle spins pretty freely in there. Doesn't need any tweaking or of any type, or doesn't need servicing at all. Notice how dirty and old this cable is, so that will definitely need to be swapped out. So I've cleaned the crank. I'm going to put it back on here, make sure the chain is wrapped around here so we can go on. Looks much better. Didn't need a huge amount of cleaning, but it's definitely makes a big difference when you have a really shiny crank. Interestingly, this file is perfect for this dust cap. It fits absolutely perfectly like that. Until I dropped it, that is. Yeah. That fits perfectly. So I don't know, it wasn't made for it, but it does the job really well. And instead of using a screwdriver, which I always find it's dodgy, you can break these caps very easily. Interestingly, on this big freewheel, which is the biggest one, is a 30. That one there is a 32. It can't reach it on this present setup. That's maxed out. So you can see you won't go any further at all. So it needs a new cable for sure. But also the high-low screws on this Suntour. I can get it. Oh, here, there, here and here. So by adjusting these, it should be able to reach that big 30 cog there. But definitely needs a new cable as well. And don't forget to take all the dirt off these jockey wheels, because they really do get really full of grit and mud, and make sure you just get it all off as you clean the derailleur. Okay, so cut this cable off. And then this is a 4. Normally there are 5, I think, rear derailleurs at this period. There it goes. Really pretty dirty state. Old. That's better. I mean, sometimes you have to clean it. Maybe this one will be alright. That's better. Pull out this cable. Stiff. Definitely worth cleaning up a bit. They work much better once they're free from all the dirt and the rust even. Whether or not you want to take it all apart and clean it, that's just down to each person's choice. Under the bottom bracket, you can see here the hole where it goes into as a guide. Suntour derailleur, here's the hole that the cable goes through there, and then it comes through that way, and then it will come through this hole here. There is another like opening there here, but that's not where it's supposed to go through there. So that's how it goes through. Now the Suntour derailleur, the entry is on this side, so not on the top like some older derailleurs. And it should just naturally pull through to the other side. That's it. That's it. Can't do it with one hand. Oh yeah, there it stops. Make sure everything's tight. On the cable. See the difference, a new cable made. Here's the shifter with a new cable in maximum position, and there it has reached the biggest cog on the freewheel. So it didn't need adjusting here, it just needed a new cable to reach that biggest cog. So yeah, a new cable was the main thing. Front derailleur cable looks fine to me. It's old, you can see it's not perfect, it's probably 10 years old maybe, I don't know, but it works fine. I mean, you compare it to the new one I put on this side. This is the new one, that's the old one. But it works, it doesn't slip, it moves the chain, no problem. So what's the point of changing it? Save yourself £3. I don't see the point in changing cables if they still work fine. So I'm going to keep that one as it is. This is an Oregon cedar tree I'm working under actually. And this saddle, I don't know, the more I look at it, the less I like it, to be honest. I think this bike could do with a Brooks or even a suede saddle. This is a later edition. I just don't think it really suits the bike. And the handlebar tape, yeah, it's worn. I don't know, but I still think I should keep that. I think it's okay. So I'm using this polishing compound to polish the frame to finish off. It's good quality stuff, and this will bring out the shine. I've just finished polishing it and I've rinsed it with water, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. The bike looks in really good condition for its age. Paintwork is really good. As you can see, it's polished out really well, any of those small scratches. Crank looks great, the rear derailleur. I would like to get rid of that saddle, and also these hoods, but I think those hoods are okay. I mean, they're just original, so yeah, I'm happy with the restore. Not a complete restoration of this bike, but enough to make it really good road bike for someone, because I can't ride it because it's too small for me. Yeah, and this is the other side. Not quite as good with the blemishes on the top tube, but still, yeah, I really enjoyed restoring this bike. Cheers. So in 1984, given the choice of a Trek or a Peugeot, I think I would have chosen the Peugeot. For me, it's a better looking bike, with Peugeot's heritage and racing history. That would have been my choice. But if you do see or come across the Trek 500, definitely worth it. It's a great bike.